This is the Meaning Business Podcast, your go-to source for business tips, advice, growth, and exit strategies, hosted by Bruce Coudrey and Peter Spinda. Each episode, we bring you real stories, expert insights, and practical advice to help you succeed in today's market. Let's dive in.
Today, we wanted to have a talk about the future, and we want to talk about the purpose behind designing for the future and actually taking ownership of I guess, where you want to go in life and what you want to achieve in life.
Yeah.
There's a really good book that I highly recommend people read, and it's called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Have you read that book by any chance?
I'm halfway read it. You gave it to me. It's on my bookshelf. I thought you might have noticed it yesterday when you were
No,
at
I
yeah.
didn't notice.
Yes. So I think you gave it to me in December last year. So yeah.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are parts where I feel like it does draw and drag on a little bit.
I think it's good. And his podcasts are good too.
The podcasts are really good, and the blogs that he has.
Yeah.
The thing that I wanted to point out about that book is there's this little story and little exercise in the book that I found super useful. Ever since I've read first about it and I've put myself through this activity, I've actually run many of our clients through this. And the exercise is quite simple. What it is, it's all about understanding first of all, the realities of your current financial situation, understanding what you really want out of life, and putting the two together so that you've got actual clarity around what do you truly need from a financial perspective, particularly in order to live the life that you want to live. So design the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
And his reasoning behind this is that there's quite often a mismatch in the sense that quite often we think that in order to live a certain lifestyle, we need a lot more than what we truly need. We need a lot more money. We need a bigger house. We need more cars or whatever it might be. And he says in his book, and that when you actually sit down and distill it and really work out what you truly want, and then work out, okay, well, how much money do you need in order to live the lifestyle that you want to achieve? For most people, it's actually a lot less. And in fact, quite often, and I've run this activity with many business owners, quite often they're already there.
Yeah.
They just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting exercise. And I think I might have mentioned to you a little while back, a client that I work with up Northern Queensland for a couple of years. And she was quite often, saying that her ideal lifestyle is to retire on a little island off the coast of Queensland, be able to go there anytime, do some fishing, loves fishing, and just have a fun lifestyle, loves cattle and properties and things like that. And she's always stressing about business and just working ridiculous hours. And so I remember one time after actually reading this book, quite a few years back, I went up and I sat down with her. I said, listen, I just want to go through this exercise with you. And we went through this exercise, brought about through Tim Ferriss's book. And we came to the realization that just like the story about the fisherman who's out there fishing and living the life that he wants to live, she was already living that life, So she could literally stop working, sell her businesses, and live the life that she had always been dreaming of. She already had the holiday house on a Queensland island off the coast. She already had the little boat, all she needed. She already had, assets, everything like that. And when we ran that exercise, her mind actually changed, and she didn't work much less, but the stress went down because she wasn't putting that pressure on herself, because she's already realized that she's got what she had wanted to do. And the reason she continued with the business was because business was part of her and she loved it. And so it went from a stressful position to a position where she actually started enjoying her business a lot more. She then started letting go more. She put in place a general manager type individual. She was then able to take more and more holidays. And so today she's actually living quite a comfortable life, having a successful business, but has a good team in place that now operates the business.
So that happens a lot. A lot of people are in a good place, but they don't know it.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about purposeful design, what we've got to be thinking, in my opinion, as business owners is, what's the life that we want beyond our business? What's the life that we want that is outside of business? Now, for some of us, I mean, you and I, we live and breathe business and we love what we do, but there's other passions. You've got your motorbikes and the cars and your grandkids and travel and food,
Team that can't win a
football, all of the above.
Yeah.
So I think where it starts for us as business owners is, what are we going to do beyond business? What are we going to do? What do we want to do? How do we want to live life?
And I like this idea that you can design your life, right? Is it what you're sort of saying?
Absolutely.
So can I
Yeah, jump in.
embellish on that
Talk
for a
about
sec?
it.
So first of all, you've got a saying, and I'm not going to quote you properly here, Pete. It's something like good businesses don't happen by accident, they happen by design, something like that. And that's so true. And I think about the fact that if we understand that concept and you apply it, then you go like this. You go, okay, I'm in my business. I'm not ready to retire. But how much do I want to earn? You reverse engineer it. I want to earn $2 million a year. Okay, what have I got to earn to do to earn $2 million a year? I got to earn this much revenue, or have this much. I need this many outlets, or this many staff, or this, and you can go about building your business to that point.
Absolutely.
So there's several facets. There's also the what you're saying, what we're sort of starting off with was, the client you were talking about who already had the assets, didn't need to keep working, she could retire. That's quite a common thing too. But I think there's 3 parts to a business. It gives you 3 things, right? It gives you a weekly revenue, a wage. It gives you profit, and it gives you that golden egg when you sell.
Absolutely.
And quite often people are thinking, about the sell. That's one of the things that you'll get when you sell it. But they're thinking they'll lose that revenue and they'll lose that profit, that cash flow.
Yep.
And what we need to redesign is if you do sell, and you take that cash, what's the new plan for that cash? And how do I turn that into a passive investment or whatever it is?
And that's part of that design. Because if you said, if you said it, okay, so I'm 45, and let's say I said to myself, all right, I'm going to retire at the age of 50, and from 50 onwards, what I want to do is buy businesses, have them managed, and I want to travel the world and that sort of thing. Okay, if I can work out how much income I need in order to do that, then the next question is, all right, once I've sold my business, what am I going to do with that cash? And so now already I'm starting to think, all right, what are the assets that I need that are going to generate income, whether it's in properties or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But then the other question is, all right, do I now then say to myself, all right, I'm going to sell everything? Or do I say, all right, I sell 1 or 2 businesses, but I keep 2 of those that are managed and that are generating those profits? So it's about having these discussions with yourself and then having them with with your advisors, whether it's a business advisor, accountant, solicitor, whoever it might be, so that you're actually designing the future, designing where you want to go.
So I think that design actually comes from a deeper place. So we imagine, we dream, so we dream about, going fishing and having that island property, or in my case, my dream would be to have enough money and enough assets and no debt, so I can just travel the world and go to every Formula One meeting around the year. And on that journey every year, I can go and visit all the different countries.
Yep.
That would be a dream for me. So how do I do that? So you start with the dream, then you imagine it, you dream it, you imagine it, and then you see, okay, well, to do that, I need $300,000 a year, and without eroding my capital. How am I going to earn $300,000 a year? Now, I'm in my business currently, so I need these assets. How do I get those assets? Well, I grow my business to the point where I get out, I'll be able to have those assets. And therefore, your dream starts to become a plan, and your plan can be put into place. But you reverse engineer, you start with the end in mind.
You do. And what I was going to say is that the end in mind is really powerful, because when you're going through those shitty periods within a business, you're going through the down periods, which always why it happens. That's the why. That's the driver. And when you're going through a successful period, you also use that, because then you're using that to go, okay, should I be moving this aggressively, or should I be making this move here or that move? So it actually helps you move forward and make the right decisions within your business. Because you go, okay, well, how is that going to impact the plans that I've got for myself? How is that going to impact the lifestyle that I want to live?
And your why can change quite quickly. Your why, there's nothing wrong with changing your why. There's nothing wrong with me saying, I don't want to do that world tour of the Formula One anymore. I've decided I want to buy a caravan and go around Australia. Nothing wrong with that. Great. Okay, what do I need? How do I get there? That's fine. Another little thing, you've just created a mental image for me. So I'm very, very visual in my life, right?
Same.
So I don't like a dirty car, I like my lawnmower, it's visual, right? So I'm not strong in other areas, but that's something that really drives me. So for me to get my lifestyle, how do I want to live my life? I need a visual cue. And so here's my visual cue. Share it with everybody. It's probably boring, but I decided I wanted to have, years ago, what I called, this is so weird, a Porsche lifestyle. So I had this avatar in my mind that a Porsche owner in Germany or Switzerland has this minimal house with minimal stuff, no paintings on the walls and stuff, very minimal, lovely garage with a Porsche and maybe some other cars. And it's all clean and neat and no unnecessary stuff anywhere. Just clean and neat. And so now I want to I believe that I'm transferring that into my own life. That's my vision. And therefore for me, having things simple and neat and clean and not cluttered is my aim, my goal.
And what's interesting about what you're saying that is that I'm like you in the sense that I love my clean and the minimalistic and that Porsche lifestyle. But the big but that I've got is that I've still got the 3 kids at home. So you have to shuffle that. And I go, okay, so my main goals are different.
Yeah.
But this is why it's
I didn't have that goal when I had kids.
No, you wouldn't.
No, that vision.
We all had different goals.
Yeah.
For me now, it's more the security for the family is number one. But probably number one for me is to be able to spend as much time as I can with the kids, not miss any of the football practices or games or anything that they do like that. Go to all the school events, the concerts, everything that they're part of, and be there to also assist with homework. That's my number.
Yeah.
And that is such a big driver in terms of the way I operate business and the decisions that I make.
And so that's just like saying, I need so much to retire or I want to get to this point or whatever it is. It's no different. You've got that vision in your mind, in your case, being there with the kids. If you don't have that, you're sort of aimless. Once you start to crystallize and I think literally see a picture of how you want your life to look, it really is helpful.
Absolutely. And it does work. So, if like I've set myself some goals, personal goals by the end of this year. We were talking the other day, I want to replace our 2 cars. We've got nice cars, going to replace them because there's too many kilometers on them. So, okay, I know I've got those personal goals. We've got the Football World Cup coming up next year in the US. So we've got goals as a family to be able to go to the World Cup and, attend some of the games and things like that. So there's some goals. And then I've wound that back and gone, okay, what does the business need to do in order for me to be able to afford to do that?
Yeah.
How much revenue? And then we take it further, similar to what we do in sales, where you go, okay, if I want to make, sell 10 businesses a year, what does that mean? And the numbers. And then you go, okay,
550, 20, 10.
So how many people you need to prospect and talk to, how many appraisals, evaluations, it's how many listings, and then how many sales.
That's right.
Similar thing in any business where you go, okay, well, at the top of the funnel, if you're, I don't know, selling roast chickens for argument's sake, you go, okay, well, this is how many I need to start with. And you wind it back until you get the figure that you're after.
To me, this is
the fun bit.
The fun bit of business and life. So, okay, my aim is I want to go to the World Cup. I want to take my kids. How much is it going to cost? 50 grand.
Yep.
How am I going to get that 50 grand? What am I going to do? What's the plan?
Yep.
I can either take out of capital, I can sell assets, or I can use that, or I can earn revenue and profit and put it into a fund. How am I going to do it?
Yep. Absolutely. It's
coming up with
a challenge.
And we spoke to a guy today who was talking about business should be a game. It's like sport, war, and business. It's competition, but you set yourself targets and you practice and you rehearse and you train, but you have a goal.
Yep.
And so, okay, so how am I going to get that 50 grand? It's fun.
It is.
It makes it fun.
And you hold yourself accountable by bringing the people along. So I've actually sat down with the family. This is about a month ago. We sat down and I said, all right, guys, one of my boys, Alex, he's fanatic about football. I mean, all the kids are, but Alex in particular in terms of watching everything. And he goes, Football World Cup's next year. And I'm like, where is it, Alex? He's like, US. So we sat down as a family. I'm like, all right, guys, what do you think of this? Why don't we go to the Football World Cup next year? If we can get tickets to the final and the semi-final, we're there. And the tickets are ludicrous prices. So 50 grand is, minimum that we're going to need.
Yes.
But it's a lifetime, you choose where you spend your money, and that's the connection with the family.
It's fun when you have those goals, right? So if you, we were talking to a guy who said he wanted a Range Rover and 15 stores. He ended up with 39 stores.
Yeah, he did.
So having that is fun. It makes business fun, and it should be fun. It should be exciting.
And the family now holding me accountable because the kids are regularly asking, so Daddy, are we going to the US next year? Are we going to the US?
I would have probably, I don't know actually if I would, but it would be a good idea to say, you've got to get A's or you've got to do these things.
Yeah.
The bedroom's got to be tidy.
Oh, we've got other things for that. So I've already got them sorted.
You don't go if you don't. hit those targets, you know.
Yeah, look, the motivation's certainly there. So that motivation then, that drive that is outside of business, and that's the important thing. I think we've got to know when to separate business and life and have life beyond business. We've got to enjoy other things as well. And we bring that into the business and that acts as a driver to go, yes, I want to succeed. I'm going to go do this and just keep pushing and moving
Well, they
forward.
are separate, but I think it's the same culture. You make business fun, you make life fun. So I'll give a quick, sorry, I'm indulging myself here again. So my wife was at school. I'm at a pub with my mate and his two sons, and we're just sitting there waiting for Jane to come. We ordered food, we ordered drinks. So we're waiting, make it a bit of fun. I said, okay, we're all going to decide, we're going to pick what my wife Jane is going to order as a drink. Whoever gets it right is the winner, right? By the way, the winner got a calendar like one I got from somebody in this room for Christmas, which was obvious plan, by the way, Jay. So I got them the dog pooping in the awful places calendar. But anyway, so instead of sitting there waiting for Jane just talking, now it's a bit of fun. Here comes Jane, sits down, waitress comes over. What would you like? We're on. And she ordered whatever it was. It was a lemon squash. Yeah. Austin was right. He wins. But so I think it's the same with business. We should make it a little bit of fun, and particularly if it's target-based fun, and we're hitting targets, a little bit of fun is good,
It's that saying, celebrate your successes, your wins. But the only way to really do that is if you've got the finger on the pulse. So that then means that fundamentally you've got to know your numbers. You've got to know, okay, are you on track? If you're not, what are the differences? So it then forces you to become a better business owner, because unless you do that, you actually don't know. And that's why I run, I've run clients through this sort of activity, because they haven't had the finger on the pulse and they're just living in the stress and the grind and the grind and the grind.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, some clients were saying to us, where's the money in the business? Where's the money in the business? And when we sat down and looked at the revenue and cash flow, et cetera, it opened their eyes, because they realized, hang on a second, the money's there.
Yeah.
It's just the finger wasn't on the pulse.
I find that really hard to believe, by the way, because, and I'm not the most technically sophisticated person in the room, but, these days you can get onto Xero, and at any moment in time, you can see what your stock is, what your cash at bank is, what your debtors are, what your profit year to date is, what your profit for the week is, how you compare to last year. So it's not hard.
But that's because you think like a business owner and you care in that way. So many people we deal with, and part of what we do in advisory is actually educate people to be business owners. We're educating so-called business owners who are just, in all honesty, it's almost like a glorified employee where they're doing the job, they just happen to own the business, but they're not thinking.
Maybe
like
you got to make it fun. Maybe you got to because those guys are probably looking at their footy tips or, their share price or something else regularly. So maybe they just need to make it fun.
And so that's why setting the goals is important. Setting those, especially for people who don't care about the numbers and who just think it's bland and boring. All right, well, let's tie it to an outcome.
Right.
Let's tie it to something that they will feel personally.
Yeah.
Everyone's motivated differently. So often it's some sort of an incentive. It might be, all right, I want to buy the Range Rover next year. Okay. Well, in order to buy that, we actually need to get to this point in your business.
Yes, that's right.
And the only way to do that is this, and this. And by the way, you need to keep track of your numbers, because your numbers, like the footy and things like that, that's the scoreboard.
Yeah, yeah.
So then
exactly.
we can turn it into
and you make it fun and you give it a reason.
Yep.
So, by the way, if I'm aiming to get the Range Rover and I've got numbers as a target, it's kind of, again, back to this thing about reverse engineering. I want to achieve that. So to get there, I need to do these things. So you then set the targets on revenue and cost. And that's a good thing. So you make it fun. And then to get there, I might need to turn over, 25,000 a week. And I might need to keep my costs below 4,000 a week. So you're not just focusing on the top line and how I get my revenue.
No.
But you might go, my wages are getting up. What are we doing here? Or why is this rent going up, or power, or whatever it is? So it makes running the business fun again, and brings it back to the Range Rover. And that really is the right way to go.
It is. And the other part of creating the future and designing it is to design it in a way that along the way you've got wins. Because what you want is, you don't want this goal that you can only achieve in 10 years' time, right? So like us, next year, that's a year and a bit away. So there's a medium-term goal. Then I've got some shorter-term goals. Because what you want is you want to see the progress. You want to feel the wins, whatever it might be. It could be a small thing where you say, okay, well, every quarter I want to be able to go and spend $300 on a beautiful dinner with my wife. Now, that's a goal. And the celebration is the dinner because you've achieved it, because you've hit the goals, set the target.
That's right.
So
and sometimes you're not getting there. You need to reset that goal.
that's it.
Might be a dinner for $150.
Well, either that or you hold yourself to account and go, well, you know what? You didn't do it, so you're not going to do it. And so you feel the pain because sometimes the pain is the bigger driver, is the bigger motivator.
Exactly.
You know, especially if you say to your wife, you know what, in 3 months' time, we're going to go here for dinner. Now, she'll be expecting it. And so when that doesn't happen, because for whatever reason, you lose a bit of face, you know?
Yes, yes.
And so sometimes that's the motivation, the negative part.
Exactly right.
That can
Exactly.
can fail us.
Good motivator. But not fun.
No, definitely not fun. That's why we're focused on the fun.
But resetting is not a problem.
That's right. And so a great business can only be built through design. You can flounder, yes.
Right.
You can make money without planning, yes, but it's not ever going to become a great business.
No.
And in my eyes, a great business ultimately is a business that doesn't need you involved in the day-to-day. It can operate without you. You can go away on holidays for a month. You know the business is running effectively because you've got the right people, doing the right things, system processes. And importantly, it has value, and that value isn't just about the money. It's also about the fact that it has appeal. So people want to acquire you. They want to buy you.
Yeah.
They want to emulate you. They copy what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic thing. And when competition starts copying you, because it means that you're actually doing something that's like, oh, shit, we got to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
So just back to something, by the way, you notice a good business owner knows their numbers. I've met so many good business owners. There's a guy named John here in Brisbane, and he's had so many businesses, tires and fruit and veg, and he has fruit and veg. And you could say to him, how's it going? You go, oh, last week we did 80, we should have been doing 85,000, but I had more margin on my vegetables and less margin on my fruit, and it was good. And, you know, we got a special on honey, and he knows every dollar. And he can tell you, oh, we had 2 public holidays this month, so, you know, I put our wages up a little bit. He's on to it, right? And this is my thing that I've just flashed in my mind. Business should be science, not luck. So many people who aren't doing well or aren't good business people, they're sitting there, oh, please bring me some customers today. And it's luck, right? And same with business sales, you know, brokers just think, oh, I hope I get a buyer. I hope I get a good listing. It's not, it shouldn't be operating that way. In business, it should be science. I know if I do this, this will happen. So to hit my target, I've just got to do these things and I'll get this result.
Absolutely.
And if I do these things and I get that result, then this is where I'll be. And that's where the game comes in. So it needs to be science, not luck. Now, if you're in business and you don't have that scientific approach to your business right now, you need to change it. You need to think about it.
It's interesting. So talking about the games then, there's actually 2 rule books that play in parallel within business. Rule book number 1 is the rule of general business. So the rule of financial management, cash flow forecasting, HR, et cetera, et cetera. They're things that underpin every business, right? Rule book number 2 are your rules in your industry, in your business, based on your needs, et cetera. And that rule book is really important for you to understand. So as a business owner, you need to go and understand, okay, if you spend, let's say, $10,000 a month on marketing, what does it give you? You need to understand the metrics. If you put it on an extra person who costs you $100,000 a year, what is that going to give you? How does that going to impact your numbers and growth, et cetera?
That's right.
So they're the 2 rule books. And if you apply those 2 rule books and then orchestrate your plan around that and hold yourself accountable, then you're actually on the path to success because you're in control.
Yes.
Control allows you to be successful.
If you've got the scientific approach to running your business, you have control.
That's right.
If you're crossing your fingers and hoping that the weather's going to go your way, you've got no control.
Yep.
So, you know, having control is exciting. Having control over your business and your future is exciting. And then you get to the point, by the way, when you're doing that, you're not thinking to yourself, oh, I need to keep working. I'm not making enough money. You say, oh, I'm on track. I'm doing well. I'm going to get there.
What ends up happening is you actually don't think that you're working.
Yes, yeah.
Because you're in such an enjoyment mode and you're enjoying your business that it's just fun. It's actually quite amazing being in business and you know having that success.
Exactly.
The thing that I'd add to it is that one thing everyone needs to be mindful of is that we can design as much as we want, but what ends up happening in reality will be a little bit different. So we may have this path that we want to go down. We know strategy says, okay, we want to be here. That's our design. And theory says, okay, here's the path. But what will end up happening is you'll have, a tree fall down in front of you. You've got to go to the left or right or cut the tree up. So you've got these unforeseeables. But ultimately, the mindset that you'll have by being design focused and purposeful will allow you to go, okay, no problems. I'll either get the chainsaw out and chop the tree up, or I'll get help and we'll move the tree, or I'll go left, I'll go right. No wishes at all.
Exactly.
No, it doesn't phase you.
Exactly right.
You don't fall apart on a heap going, oh, it was me.
But if you're
controlling
at the other end where you're just hoping that things fall your way, a tree fell in my path, I'm paralyzed, can't move. Yeah. You look at the successful brokers in our company. They love what they do. It's fun. It's a game. It really is a game. I made 30 sales. Yeah, I got another listing. Yeah, I've just sold this, and I've got 10 buyers on this thing. It's fun for them.
And even challenging situations are fun because it's a game.
It actually makes it interesting.
That's it. You and I have had a couple of conversations about a challenging situation in a client's business at the moment, and I'm looking at it going, with excitement, because it's an interesting intellectual challenge that I know we can solve. It's just, okay, let's put it together and let's solve it. And the outcome is going to be something fantastic for the business, something fantastic for us. And it's just such a, it's just a challenge.
Exactly.
It's a game.
By the way, I'm getting off track here and we'll probably wrap it up in a minute, but a common theme that's running through a lot of things that I've noticed in the last day or so is you're the problem. So a lot of business owners need to let the staff and the team run the business and not try and do everything themselves. And that even makes it more fun because you can command from above rather than being down in the trenches yourself. You can manage the troops and make sure things are happening the way they should be happening getting towards your goal. Remember, a guy said to us that he was the problem. He took a step back and profitability doubled within 6 weeks.
And that is part of building a valuable business.
Correct.
Part of building a valuable business is
and running it by science. You go, okay, if I do this, this is what's going to happen. The result.
That's exactly right. So, ball's in your court. Ask yourself the question of what life do you want to live? What is your life going to look like in business, outside of business? What are the things you want to achieve? Set yourself some long-term, medium, short-term goals. Use those as the drivers for you from a mindset and energy momentum point of view within your business. And if you're in control and in that position where you're really taking ownership and working towards those goals, chances are you're going to hit them.
Exactly.
You're going to have the success you're after.
I believe you write it down, you visualize it. I'm visualizing Pete and his kids now in the USA, cheering on Hungary.
We actually do have a backup plan, and we have to have one for the World Cup, because I found out the other day, I know I'm going off topic, but I found out that you can't just go and buy the tickets. It doesn't work that way. So it's almost like a lottery system, and there's a certain way they release tickets in certain batches. So the chances of buying tickets to the finals and the semifinals are very, very slim. So we decided as a family, if we can't get tickets to those two, we're going to go 6 weeks in Europe. So we're like, okay, we'll have the.
You know what? I just go to any game. It's like the Olympics. I don't care. I just go and watch the rowing or something.
Well, it'll all depend on what games we can get. That's the problem.
Okay.
So just the way they release tickets.
You don't want to watch Ivory Coast play.
To be honest, I'd watch any game. We love watching games. We'll go to all the games. Love it. Yeah. So always a lot of fun.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you. I better get back to my Tim Ferriss book this weekend.
I'm going to go keep designing. Thanks, everyone. See ya. Bye, Chris.